Here with more, the winner of last night's Senate primary in the great state of Texas. God bless Texas. Attorney General Ken Paxton, congratulations on your victory. Did you take any words of James Talarico out of context? Are you cutting and pasting them?
No, we absolutely not. Those are his words. He's running from them. He ran in the Democratic primary on those topics. He brought up every one of those. He was not pushed. I did nothing to push him to say any of that. We didn't take him out of context. He said them because he wanted to get elected in a very left-wing Democratic Party. And now that he's in a general election, he wants to run from those words and act like they don't mean what he meant them to be in the Democratic primary. That's just not true. And we are going to hold him accountable to those words.
Do you believe that the people of Texas think that God is non-binary? Do you think that the people of Texas are going to agree with the idea of a welcome mat at our southern border? Do you think the people of Texas like to eat their beef? I happen to like Texas beef myself, cattle. And do you know what the 6 genders he's referring to are? Because I don't.
Look, I think he got lost and ended up in the wrong state. He should be in California, not in Texas. Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about. 6 genders? I mean, that's ludicrous, and he knows it's ludicrous, and yet he pitched that when he was in the Democratic primary. Now he's acting like he didn't say it, but he still can't tell us what the 6 genders are. I don't think he ever will be able to, because there aren't 6 genders, there are 2.
You know, I actually thought that Jasmine Crockett would be the more controversial Democrat and the easier one to beat, but the more I learn about Talarico, I think it's actually a good thing that he beat Jasmine Crockett, who I thought was the favorite in that race. Okay, something is happening. The president now has endorsed 118 people in these primaries. All 118, including you, have won. John Cornyn has been in office for many, many years. What is happening? Why is that endorsement worth everything in a primary?
Well, there's 2 things. The president is very gifted at picking good candidates. He recognizes what America is looking for. We all have this desire for authentic conservative leadership that actually takes us to a good place. And so he has a unique ability of identifying that. And then, of course, once he endorses that, the American people trust that endorsement, and it makes a difference in every race that he endorses in, a significant difference that I've never seen with any other endorsement in my lifetime.
No, I think that's true. I did think it was gracious of John Cornyn to endorse you last night. Did you talk to him?
No, actually, my phone cell service coverage, there were so many people at the ballroom we were at, wasn't working, but he texted me, and then I followed up with a text. So I appreciated that text, and certainly appreciate John Cornyn's service to the state of Texas.
Well, I will tell you, between Louisiana and what happened with Bill Cassidy and Tom Massey, and now in the case of John Cornyn, this is really, in many ways, a political earthquake. Ken Paxton, congratulations. We'll be following that race very, very closely. Thank you for being with us. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.